Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. I'm Damon Hatfield. I'm here with Toby.
Hello, hello.
Hello. We're going to take a look at a little bit of an unusual RPG that's coming out next year. This is Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it's a very unique take on the RPG genre because it's not a fantasy game. This is actually a historically set, real-world history set RPG. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's what we try. We want to bring a game that brings you back in the early 15th century of Central Europe. So, as you said, we try to create a game that is it's an open-world RPG that is realistic and historically accurate. Of course, it's not a medieval simulations, it's just a video game, so we have compromises here and there, but still we believe that's the most realistic you can get.
To the best of your ability, you're trying to recreate, it's set in Bohemia, is that right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
today's Czech Republic, right.
Okay. So that means everything from trying to recreate accurately the clothing of the time, the weaponry, the art, the music, all of that, right?
Exactly, and actually before we wrote the first code, we had to do a lot of research. So the good thing about Kingdom Come is that it's around 50 kilometers or 30 miles south of our studio. We are located in Prague, in the Czech Republic. So we visited the places, we saw the castles, the churches. We could take places, we even took places of vegetation to recreate this entire setting to make it look as realistic as possible. Sometimes it's hard because the stuff is destroyed. It's 700 years old, 600 years old.
But
we even have a full-time historian in our team who helps us to rebuild these things.
Okay, so we're looking at the game here. Obviously, from a first-person perspective, is that through the whole game, or can you switch to third person?
Exactly. You will be in Kingdom Come Deliverance. You will be only playing as a single player and first person. So what we tried to do is to have a very immersive game, and we decided that it's best when you see it through your own eyes. Sometimes, as you see in the dialogues, you will switch out so you can see yourself, but mostly you will be, or always you will be in this first-person mode. Yeah. But we said realistic, but it's also historically accurate. So what we see right now is something like a codex, or well, it is a codex.
Sure.
And for those who are interested in history, we have those. It gives you information about the game, about the NPCs, because all of the buildings, castles, places you will meet actually existed back then or are still existing. Most of the NPCs you will meet are real historical.
Real people.
Exactly.
Wow.
And if you're interested, like in the history of those, you can read it in our internal codex thing. But if you're not interested at all, just grab the sword and go fighting.
Okay, you can just get straight to the killing.
Exactly, straight to the killing.
So where are we here? Is this where we start out in the game?
Exactly, this is called Silver Scalus. It's a silver mining city, and you are playing Henry, the son of a blacksmith, and that's your hometown. So what we see right now is something like a tutorial space where you pretty much can't die, but it introduces you to most of the core features. However, what we see right now is a quest or a dialogue with a guy, and it introduces you to the fact that in Kingdom Come Deliverance, when you have a quest, there are several options how you can solve it. There's no linear way. Well, sometimes, of course, there's a fetch quest or something, but right now we see we can either try to persuade this guy or we can try to go into a fight with him. And if we lose or win, it will change the outcome of the quest. Because then, if you win, he will give you money. That's what you want from him. If you lose, you need to find another idea how to get the stuff. So if you come to a dead end, it says fail. It doesn't mean that you failed the quest per se. It just means that you need to come up with a workaround, find another way, try something different. But you only have one choice.
One way.
You only have one choice. So if there's a dialogue and there's like 3 options or something, you need to choose wisely which one you want to pick and then deal with the consequences.
Okay.
So if you said, give me the money or I will beat you, but this guy, you know that he's like a local fighter and drinker, well, then he says, okay, then let's come and fight. And then you have to deal with that.
Well, tell us about that combat system. It's first person as well.
Exactly. What we saw right now was the fist fight. That's pretty straightforward, just kicking and punching. But more interesting, it will be more interesting when we add the weapons, because maybe you saw this like this rose in the middle. It's like 5 different ways from where you can attack. So you can attack the head, shoulder left, right, bottom left, right, and then a little bit like Tekken, you can combine those hits. So it's easy to swing like one swing after the other or stab, but if you combine those, if you are more tricky into that, if you have like the right combination, you can do deadly combos, throw him on the ground, slash him through the face, and stuff like this.
And then can you dual wield weapons?
No, you can't dual wield weapons.
That's
the same problem. But you will have the weaponry of the medieval area. So we are from halberds to double-handers, to short sword, shield, different bows and arrows and stuff like this. So you will find this. And if you don't, and that's something I really want to point out. Kingdom Come Deliverance is not about fighting per se. It's just an option for those who wish to fight. You can, not entirely, but you can pretty much solve this game without violence or without killing anyone. Violence is like, fist fight is also violence, but you can try to avoid fighting at all. And for example, there will be a quest, and we will see this later as well, where there's a big skirmish happening in the end of the quest. But this skirmish is only happening if you decided several things beforehand in the questing, because there's this bandit lord in the forest, and you know that your lord is going to send you there to kill them with a small army, and you have the chance to go there beforehand. Tell this guy, listen, go away, we are coming and we will kill you. Rather hide. He will maybe thank you, he will maybe go, he will maybe encounter you or something like this. But your lord will be mad at you because he was like, he's an outlaw, right?
Yeah,
and you want to get him, but you solved the quest without violence. Right, so this is something you might encounter.
All right, so we're Henry.
Yes.
Is this what Henry looks like in the game, or are we able to customize our appearance?
Henry will have a given face, so you're playing this particular person, but it's less about his appearance, it's more about his character. So in Kingdom Come Deliverance, it's similar like the Skyrim system, kind of, the RPG elements. What I mean is that you're only leveling what you're doing. So if you want to be like the violent guy and do the fighting and fight with a mace, for example, then you will only get better at mace fighting. But if you do like the speech stuff, more the talking, then you will be better at the diplomacy skills, and then you can go through the quests without killing someone. So it's more about the character you're building, less about the look. And then you have an armor, of course. So you have a 14-slot system for your armor, different layers which you can put over each other, from soft materials to hard full plate armor, for example, and then you customize your own armor, because every zone is then protected separately with the particular fabric you are wearing.
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting system. So Henry's kind of a blank slate, and players have their own play styles. So just naturally, by playing the game the way that they normally would, they end up sort of sending Henry down that path and leveling up the skills that the player prefers. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I like and what I think is interesting is that the skirmish thing I talked about earlier, it might happen that I'm telling you about my experience, say, this skirmish was so crazy I almost died. And you might say, like, which skirmish? I've never saw that. Because you did something completely different beforehand. So this is something what I think is pretty interesting. What we see right now is a funny quest where you throw some manure at the German guy and his house, because we are talking about a story that really happened. So this is based on true story. Not the manure thing necessarily, but the setting, I mean. So there's a political problem. The king of Hungary is attacking the king of Bohemia. The Germans inside Bohemia support the invading king. The Bohemians, of course, they hate him. And this will break out in a huge civil war in which you get torn in. So that's like the political frame there and the situation we talk about. This fist fight here, another thing. A little bit earlier, those friends of us asked us, let's go and throw that manure at the house of the German guy. And you can say, I will help you, or I won't help you. If you won't help them, they will go alone and do the stuff alone, and you can watch them. You will see them how they do the stuff, and you can even re-enter the quest if you want. You will come there, will say, "Did you change your mind?" You say yes or no, and then you can re-enter the thing. It's important to know that the game is not built around you, but you are part of the game. So Henry or you will never become a lord, a king, or a ruler or something. You're just a commoner, and you stay a commoner, but you will pull some strings, and you will have an important role. However, you don't change history. Like the historical things needs to happen, castles needs to be sieged and stuff like this, but you explain how you get there or how this happened with your eyes, with your story, pretty much.
Interesting. We're just about out of time. It's a totally unique angle on an RPG to me, to have it give it a historical setting, not a fantasy world. But I wonder, anytime you put a game on PC, do you consider the possibility that the modding community could add dragons to it if they want to?
Well, actually, Warhorse Studios haven't released the game yet, but the people who work at our company have very, very good experience with the modding community, and we as well want to support them. So after the release of Kingdom Come Deliverance, we are thinking about a way how to attract the modding community, how to interact with them, how to work with them. And of course, if you want that T-Rex, in medieval Bohemia, then you have to try and create
true.
it for us.
That's true. Cool. Kingdom Come Deliverance is out February 13th, 2018.
Exactly. One day before Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
the
So
perfect-
make your wife
Yep.
buy you that Valentine gift.
Happy Valentine's Day, honey. Let's throw some manure.
Let's slay
and
some.
beat up some drunk
Yeah,
dudes.
let's
and-
slay some bandits.
Toby, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Stay tuned. We still have more games to come on IGN Live at E3 after this.